Hello, welcome. My name is Marcos and this is Self-Psychology. Today I'm answering the request of two of our viewers. Email request. The first one who asked, could I speak about grief and family dependency that sometimes follows the death of a loved one. Secondly, I received an email from someone saying, Marcos, I watch your video every week and I enjoy the information very much. However, sometimes I find it difficult to actually sit down in front of my computer and actually see the entire video. Is there any way that you can email me the transcript of the video every week? Well, since I've received a couple of these emails, I've set up a system where in fact I will be sending out the transcript of the videos every week. Now what would you have to do to get this? And I'm requesting that every one of our viewers please sign up for the newsletter. The way to do it is to go into the website www.thejovinstitute.org. On the home page you will see a box that says sign up for our newsletter. All you do is put your email address on there. The second page, once you hit the go button, you receive a page that will ask what category are you in. And there I'm requesting that you just click off either Spanish transcript or English transcript. And that's all you have to do. After that, every week you will receive the transcript of the video. Now, you will also receive once a month a newsletter. I send out a newsletter every month on really good information of some of the things we're doing. And it's all self-help, it's all free, and you can definitely benefit from that. So again, I request that every one of our viewers go into the website, thejovinstitute.org, and sign up for the newsletter so you can receive the transcript every week. Now let's talk about grief. Grief, there are two types of grief. There's the normal grieving and there's the complicated grief. Now, when I talk about grief today, I'm not going to mention death very much. I'll say loss. The lost one, the loved one. Because the same thing happens when you lose someone not to death. When a relationship breaks up, or when a friend moves away, far away, and you're not able to talk to the person anymore. So this whole grieving process can be from any type of loss. Normal grief is simply something that's normal to us as humans. We're going to feel sad in the loss of a person. We're going to get together as friends and family to support each other. We'll talk about the person and we'll move on with our lives. We'll continue to go to school. We'll continue to work. We'll continue to have our other friends. And we'll always hold a special place in our heart for the person that we lost. Unfortunately, some people have trouble with normal grief for many different reasons. Now, what sometimes happens is that normal grief becomes complicated. And the complicated part is that their lives starts to be affected. Their lives start to be hindered by the loss of this person. That brings up guilt. Brings up an irrational emotion, unhealthy emotion of guilt, because not only are they not able to get over the death or the loss of this person, but now they're downing themselves because they feel they should be able to get over this loss. And since it's hindering them, then now this loss that's supposed to be something special is now becoming a problem. And that brings up guilt. Complicated loss, complicated grief, can be defined by an extended period of mourning. Someone who feels that that they have to continue to think about this lost person over an extended period of time. To some people, that could be months. Other people, that could be a year or more years. Now, what normally happens in complicated grief? Well, the person tends to have some irrational thoughts about the whole process. It could be many different irrational thoughts, but they are irrational and they get in the way of the person moving on with their lives, accepting the loss. One of the things that I've commonly seen in this kind of complicated grief is that the person does not want to accept or denies the loss of this person. They want to keep the person alive in their minds because they feel if they are able to move on or not think of the person often, then they will forget about the person. And if they forget about the person, then that will be horrible and they won't be able to stand it. One of the main reasons people fall into this complicated grieving process is because they fail to mourn properly. Every religion and every spiritual following has a ritual for mourning the loss of someone. It's usually to get together, friends and family, speak about the person, remember the person in a positive light, and be supported by friends and loved ones. One of the most important things, one of the most important side effects of the mourning process is avoidance. What people tend to do for some reason or another is that they start to avoid their social relationships, their friends and family. They start to withdraw. And that's another symptom of complicated grief. When you're mourning the loss of someone, there are three things that should basically happen. First of all is accepting the loss. Now that may sound a little cold or unemotional, but in fact it's not. When you're able to accept the loss of a loved one, what you're actually saying is you're grounded in reality. You understand that this is part of our lives. And you're also saying that that person will hold a special place in your heart forever. It's not rational to think that you will forget about this person if you do not think about the person over and over again. It's not rational. The truth is, you will always have a reference to that person in your mind, and it can be a comforting, a positive feeling, which is what the mourning process is supposed to support. After you accept the loss, the second thing is to talk to someone, or talk to yourself, talk to a loved one, about the positive memories, the positive relationships, the things that happen between you and the person that was lost, the times you shared. Many of these good memories, you want to preserve them. And how do you preserve them? Well, you can write something like a poem or just a letter. You can draw something that has some significance to the loved one. Or you can create something, maybe like a memory box or something, and put some of the memory, things of memory in the box. This is sort of a way that you can preserve the memory of the person and feel comfortable about moving on. Third, you want to redefine the relationship of the lost one. Now again, this is not for every loss. You see, because this happens naturally when we lose someone and we go to a funeral, for example, or we get together with friends and that kind of thing. This three-stage process happens normally. But when you're suffering a complicated loss, you want to process the loss again. And what you want to do is you want to first accept the loss. Secondly, Think of the relationship, think of the positive memories, and preserve those memories in a certain way. And finally, redefine the relationship. Now that you know the person is not going to be around for you to talk to or for you to do activities with, then you need to redefine that as how will this relationship be? Would it be a memory? Would it be whatever your spiritual belief is, maybe a prayer or whatever case it is? The important thing is to see that relationship as something that's not currently like your current relationships. So you still have other people in your lives, friends and family, that are here. And what you want to do is focus your attention on them. Try to do some of the activities that you used to do with the person that was lost, with your new friends. Now, this is not saying that you're going to replace this lost one. No. You always have the memories of doing these activities with the lost one. What this means is that you're going to redefine the relationship. You're going to continue your ongoing relationships with people who are here. You're going to grow those relationships so that you don't avoid, withdraw, fall into an antisocial kind of role where you become unhealthy and you become sick emotionally. So please try to work on these 3 things. And again, this is mainly what I do in therapy. So this is very difficult for you to do on your own. Only reason I'm putting this out is if as an adjunct, as a supplement, as an addition to your current therapy, or if you're not able to get to therapy, then maybe you could try some of these things to help you out. Remember, accept the loss, define, think about positive memories, talk about the lost one to someone you love positively, and finally redefine the relationship so that you can continue on with your current relationships. And that will help you become unstuck from this loss. Now let's talk a little bit about dependency. In some cultures or circumstances, a family member is expected or simply accepts the responsibility of someone else. For example, if a mother dies and there's a father left behind, then the daughter may feel the responsibility because of culture or other reasons to take care of the father, financially and emotionally. This is a very nice thing to do. The problem is that sometimes these relationships can develop into a codependency relationship. And I'm not saying that this is happening in every relationship like this. But again, what I see commonly in my practice is this type of relationship where you have 2 people, you have the daughter and you have the father, and they both lost someone significant. And the daughter sort of feels like she needs to take care of someone so that she will feel important. She would feel like she's doing her part in the family. She would feel like she's being a good person. And she takes on the responsibility of her father. The father accepts that responsibility, maybe because they need it, or simply because they accept it. And now the daughter depends on the father, depending on her. And the father depends on the daughter. This is an unhealthy relationship. It's moved from a simple responsibility, a simple acceptance of responsibility, like the daughter, I'm just helping the father out because this is a tough time, and then he needs to move on his own, to a dependent codependency relationship where other unhealthy negative emotions start to come up because of irrational negative thoughts. Again, some of the things I've seen is that the daughter feels they are stuck. They are stuck because they cannot move forward because they have to take care of the family member. They're not able to meet other men, bring other men to their apartment, pursue other endeavors, pursue other activities that will keep the person from the home because of their responsibility towards the father. The father then becomes dependent on the daughter always being there, financially and emotionally. And the father also has a difficult time moving forward. In some cases, the father does move on. And that causes even more emotional problems for the daughter, because she's not able to accept the fact that the father is moving on when she is not able to move on. So now the death of the mother, the loss of the mother, becomes a hindrance, becomes a problem. And this is not healthy. We need to look at the loss of people in a positive light so that we are able to function, to be able to go to school, to be able to work, to be able to challenge ourselves with future activities. One of the important things that we have to do whenever we fall into a complicated grief, or a complicated grief with dependency of a family member, is go through the ABCs and figure out what are the irrational thoughts that we are telling ourselves. For example, in this case, the daughter feels frustrated because she feels she has to support her father financially while her father goes off and does other things on his own. That's the activating event. The thought of the father moving on while she has the burden of the responsibility. This causes the emotion, the C, of frustration and anger. That emotion also has a behavior attached to it, which is withdrawal, which is arguing with the father. And these are unhealthy behaviors, when in fact it should be a loving father-daughter relationship. Now, what's the important thing here? The important thing is, what are the irrational thoughts? What are the thoughts that the daughter is telling herself? What is it she telling herself to cause herself to be frustrated and angry? She's telling herself irrational thoughts of what should and what should not be happening. She's not accepting the fact that her father is a separate individual and he is going to act again. This type of dynamic can have many different thoughts attached to it, many circumstances attached to it. So again, it's very difficult to address each and every one here in a short video. I recommend the person first tries to mourn the process in a healthy manner, go through the ABCs, identify the irrational thoughts, dispute them, and come up with rational alternatives. If that is still not enough for the person to move forward and function normally in society by going to school, going to work, continuing to have friends, and move forward with activities and challenges of the person's life, then they should definitely see a psychotherapist, preferably a cognitive behavioral psychotherapist, so that they can move them forward and the family can live in a happy unit. Understand? Great. Well, thank you very much for joining me this week. And remember, log on to the Jove Institute website and sign up for the newsletter so you receive the transcripts every week. Live healthy and live happy. And I'll see you here next week.